most exciting is we are doing a giveaway for insiders only with our partners at Alaska Airlines. We're giving away 4 tickets, one for you and a friend, round trip to wherever you want to go that Alaska flies. So you have a really good shot of getting it, and if you aren't an insider, you can sign up on the second floor at our insider booth. Get all the amazing perks. You should absolutely do it. But that being said, I am so excited for today's summit. I have to admit, I probably should be attending this one and not speaking at this one, because I am not the best at self-care, which is why I'm so excited to learn from all of our incredible panelists. A few things to kick off the day. Panels are obviously happening at the main stage all day, 45 minutes with 5 minutes Q&A. So if you have a question, just fire rocket your arm up in the air, because we have incredible women here today and you want to get that question in. We will have a mic runner running around to get that over to you. And then also know we have the Zen Den downstairs, which is going to be doing programming all day through the breaks and things like that. Awesome workshops. Definitely check them out. Specifically the ukulele workshop. I'm personally so excited for it that we're going to be playing ukulele better. Well, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kickstart the day. So can we get a warm welcome to our moderator for our first panel, Kimberly Brooks.
Hello, how is everyone? It's good to see you guys. So I work in news, I work at ABC, and if you're watching the news these days, then you know that it's completely toxic. There's a lot going on in the world, and it's really important that we talk about taking care of yourselves, because with the news, I do a lot of segments on mental wellness and your health, and a lot of people are burned out for various reasons. We're all on our phones, we can't put them down, there's anxiety, depression, all of those things. So the panel that we're about to have is some dope women who's going to talk about how you can figure things out and balance your life and just make sure you're really taking care of yourselves when we live in an always-on culture. So give a big hand for our panelists. They are fire. They can come on out. A little bit louder. Hello, ladies. Good to see you. This is a beautiful panel. It's a beautiful crowd, too. You guys look great. All right, so just to get started, I want to go down the line, and I want you all to just give a very brief intro, because we don't have that much time with so many beautiful women, but give a brief intro about who you are and what you do.
Hey everyone, my name is Koya Webb. I'm an author and nutritionist here in Los Angeles. I have a private practice, and I'm so happy to be here.
Hey, I'm Rodney Dablukia. I am a vegan recipe developer and just health and wellness, and I focus on Ayurveda.
Make sure we show support, so make sure those claps are loud.
Hi, I'm Jen Beechin. I'm VP Marketing at Vital Proteins, and happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Remy Shizuka, and I'm a health and wellness content creator.
Hi, I'm Koya Webb. I'm the author of Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, and the founder of Get Loved Up, How to Love Yourself, Others, and the World.
Hello, I'm Merle O'Neill, and I'm here with BuzzFeed, and I'm supporting Goodful, our sustainability wellness brand.
Hello, I'm Smiki Wezuluweo. I'm the founder of Naya. I'm really trying to shift what wellness looks like, who can access it, and also what it means. And I'm happy to be here as well.
All right, so since this is the first panel of the day and we're talking about self-care, I'm just gonna pick Kelly. Give me your definition of what self-care means to you, so we just have a basis of where we're starting.
Well, self-care to me, and when I educate clients or meet with clients, it's all about adding to your life. I think a lot of times we feel this pressure to start removing and depriving ourselves of certain things because they might be bad for us or toxic, or the world tells us they're not great. But instead, for me, self-care is about adding. So that might be adding a smoothie to my daily routine, or adding yoga, or adding meditation when I have the time to do it, and making the time to do it.
And just so we have another person giving their definition, Saniki Way, give your definition of self-care.
I think for me, self-care is actually doing the hard thing. The stuff that I don't want to do, like I don't want to pay bills, but I need to do in order to live. I think another thing that's been coming up for me recently is just setting boundaries, and that's been really important. And to not take other people's stuff on, because I think I have a tendency to do that as well, and that's been really important in terms of my self-care.
Yeah, and it's changed a lot too, because you guys remember when self-care used to be like, ooh girl, we're getting a manicure on Sunday. Yeah, now it's like a full-blown lifestyle. So Remy, I want to start with you. You went from a 9-to-5 in interior design, and now you're running your blog full-time. How do you do all of that, building the brand and making sure you're prioritizing yourself?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely know that if I don't get my workout in first thing in the morning, I'm dreading it at the end of the day or I won't do it. So I block out, and I've woken up early to do this, but I'll spend 3 hours in the morning, that's all me time. So I'll wake up, I'll sit there in bed, do a 10-minute meditation, then I won't touch my phone until I have my matcha, that's like a rule that I have, and then I'll make my matcha, and then I'll go straight to a workout, come home and take a bath. That's just something that I do every single day without fail, 6 to 7 times a week. So I think having that routine, that's just so brainless to me now, has just made that balance so much easier.
And Roddy, how do you suggest that people that are entrepreneurs, they take care of themselves if their business is not based in wellness? How should they take care of themselves if the business that they're running isn't based in wellness? Everyone up here does wellness for a living, but if you're not based in wellness, how do you suggest that people sort of find that balance that they need for themselves?
I think it's all about reprioritizing what's the main thing you want to do in the morning. Like for me, it's meditation. So I know I have to do it in the morning, and that's the thing that I know will change the rest of my day. And so I think it's doing those things that are most important to do in the morning, and like you were saying, getting it all done before you start your day. And I think it sets your tone for the rest of the day. So yeah, I think it's prioritizing.
Can you guys hear? Okay, is this mic on right here? Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear the answers. Sanikiwe, as you just mentioned in the when you're introducing yourself, self-care, sometimes people have thought of it as something that you have to purchase or buy. And so in that case, it makes it seem like it's a privilege or it's for the privilege, and that everyone doesn't have access to self-care, but you're changing and challenging that narrative. And how are you doing that?
Sure. So the company that I started is called Naya, and I have a history of working in publishing and media, and namely right now I work for a men's health magazine. So in that sphere in itself, just looking around every day and just not seeing people that look like me, and also stepping into spaces where I'm the teacher in the class and people just automatically assuming that I'm a student in the class, and just kind of building up those experiences and just getting frustrated, because at the end of the day I practice like meditation. All you need to do it is breathing, and that's what we do every day, all day. And then similarly with yoga, like nothing, it doesn't really require anything fancy, even though we would make them think that. You can just be in your room, have a mat or a quiet space, and just do your practice in your room. So that's been something really important to me to shift that narrative.
Awesome. Myrtle, hi. So you work at BuzzFeed and your whole job is doing the wellness website. So how are you taking care of yourself at the same time, running the website to take care of everyone else?
Honestly, I just do as well as I can every single day. I think what's really important is just knowing every day is not going to be your best day. Just because you have a bad hour or a bad minute doesn't make the whole entire day or the whole entire week bad. What's really important to me is to kind of take my personal experience. I'm a big to-do lister, and I sometimes will complete a to-do list and then I'm like, okay, so I'm done now, right? I don't have to actually do any of these things. But I try to take that relatability and bring it into the content that we're producing on Goodful, which is just like, I'm a human being, I make mistakes, but I'm doing my best in the way I eat and, the way that I live. So just try to make it relatable.
We'll just go up the line here. Koya, you mentioned your book. We should say the title again, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce. This sounds like it's dealing with the inner work a little bit more. So how does your book help people with this always on culture?
I think it's very important to realize that, fear is a natural thing, and we should not try to not have fear, but realize that fear is our friend. And that fear is there to show us where we need more love in our life, where we need more self-care, where we need to breathe into. So let your fears make you fierce. It's not forget everything and run. It's face everything and rise. So when you feel fear, you want to breathe into it and find out what part of you needs more nurturing. Maybe it's your morning routine. Maybe you need to create a boundary. Maybe you can go down the list and see what you need to do to get yourself into a place of love. So this book is giving the tools from meditation to yoga to, even things like baths or even dancing to your favorite tunes. So I would say everyone out there, Beyonce, yes, her new Spirit song gives me life. But doing little things like that can just lift your mood. If you, got cut off by someone in the street or someone, made you feel bad about yourself, doing these little things to shift that fear. Am I good enough? Why am I feeling bad? It can shift it into love. And so this book is just saying, fear is not against us. It's for us. How can we breathe love into every situation? And I challenge everyone out there to just write down 3 things that you love, whether it's a smoothie or a bath or dancing, something that doesn't cost anything. And when you feel fear, do that thing until you can shift your space into a space of love and then move from that direction.
All right, yeah, great talk, All right, Jen, Vital Proteins. How many people know Vital Proteins? Use the packet of the smoothie, dropping collagen in your juice. So that's all about, taking care of your insides. What do you do for your own inner wellness?
So I think in terms of balance, I think one of the things that I've learned is not to overschedule, but to schedule my free time so that I get like the big things in that really help me to recharge. So like certain family rituals, like taking my dogs to the dog park or going on a date night with my husband, like making sure that those are planned, because sometimes like if you travel a lot, you're really busy, the whole weekend can go by and you didn't actually hit the recharge button. So those things are really important to me. I think also working in a company like Vital, where there's so many people that are on individual nutrition journeys, you really learn a lot about like one size doesn't fit all. You can actually feel better if you improve your diet. Not talking about losing weight even, but just about eating the things that are right for your body. So I got exposed to like the Whole30 and eventually to low FODMAP, and actually really changed the way I eat completely and feel so much better. That I actually feel more like I want to exercise and just feel better and more well in my life in general. So I think there's a lot of different ways to go about it.
And Roddy, your entire thing is on, your bio says conscious cooking and living, which sort of goes in line with that. How do you think what you eat affects your work ethic? When people are working super hard, what you're putting in your body can transform or change that.
Of course. Well, I studied Ayurveda, which is, Ayurveda means life and Veda is knowledge. And it talks about how the intention and the energy that you put into the food, even when you're preparing it, can actually affect the person eating it or yourself when you're eating it. And so I think it's really trying to live with even the daily things that we do, like eating or cooking, it's trying to put some intention into it. And so whatever energy we are giving that, we're receiving as well. And so, I think that's what conscious eating is to me. And conscious living for me is really placing intention into the daily activities that we do. Because we can become robots and do our daily activities over and over again without even thinking about it. Whereas if we take them as places where we can stop and take a moment and be present in it, then I think it can really help us with our inside and externally too.
And good. Kelly, just to top this off with getting a little bit of background from all of you guys, cancer research, that's what you were in to start, and then you moved to a full-time successful health coach. So what are your ways of keeping yourself number one when everything is getting hectic?
Well, I think it can be really overwhelming if you want to start your wellness path or create a lifestyle around wellness. You want to add everything. So for me, it's all about creating habits, and one of the habits that I created was to have a Fab4 smoothie every day, which is a blood sugar balancing smoothie, and that sets the tone for my day. It makes sure that I'm not crashing and craving at 3 p.m. It makes me feel like I'm able to tackle the day, and then as I build habits and coach my clients to build habits, it's about building one at a time. So we can come out and decide we want to change everything, but it feels really overwhelming, and then we feel really bad about ourselves when we don't get it done. And that's not wellness. Wellness is creating those sustainable habits that sort of happen turnkey for us and really fulfill us and make our life, really exactly what we want it to be, which is, a life of wellness.
All right, so one thing I want to ask you guys, we're going to get real here. Okay, so you're all on Instagram. You have these huge followings. This question's for everyone. What's the pressure that you feel to keep your brand up, keep these posts coming when you're trying to also, take care of yourself and set boundaries and have your solitude and your meditation? How do you do that while also being always on the gram?
So I have to write things down to remember that I need to do them. So I think I mentioned earlier, but I don't touch my phone until after I'm up, after I've done my morning routine, and then after I've made my matcha. Because that keeps me from just wasting time on my phone in bed for I don't know how long. So I definitely have a habit tracker, and that's one of the habits that I do, that I write down and I cross off every morning once I've done that. It just feels good to know that I did that, and I can now start my day on my phone.
Anyone else?
I find that something that was really scary to me, a lot of what I do is vegan content for Goodful. And I mean, again, going back to being a human being and being honest about your mistakes, I've messed up and I've cheated on my veganism before, and I was like, I'm not being honest right now. I've messed up, and I think other people are going to relate to that, and I just made the decision, I'm going to share this. And I was really scared, because I was like, I think people are like, you're going to get a bunch of negativity, and I was overwhelmed with positive responses. They're like, thank you for admitting this, because being vegan, everybody has their own definition, but I think, again, it's just tying back to what everybody's saying. It's like doing the best you can at being honest when you can't. So I think that's one way that I've tried to be real with people over Instagram.
I think as well, being authentic would be the biggest challenge, because you want to be positive and you want to, practice self-care, but there are those days that even as a healthcare professional, I get up and I don't want to do 2 hours of self-care. I'm tired and I want to just lay in my bed and chill out, and I do that. And I think it's honoring yourself and understanding, even if I have this list of 10 things that I like to do and that makes me my best self and I can get most of them done, it's also okay to just do none of them or one of them and honor the fact that I just want to lay here by myself or cuddle my family or whatever you want to do. It's okay that if you built yourself up to do all these things that make you optimal, it's okay to have days where you're like, optimal for me right now is just chilling. So not feeling like you got to check everything off that to-do list to be great.
Yeah. I think a part of self-care is resting and acknowledging that, right? That's a part of the process too. Do you guys ever get into the comparison trap? I know a lot of people, we follow all of these people on Instagram, and you're looking and you're seeing what they're doing, and you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I should be doing something else. Do you guys ever experience any of that in your own, building your own brand?
I think everyone does. I think it's hard not to, especially with a platform such as Instagram. I think the most important thing for me is just realizing that at the end of the day, everyone is a person going through maybe where they are. I'm not going to be for another 6 months, or maybe I'm not there at all, and that's okay. And that's been a really important check for myself.
Anyone else on that?
I think everyone's on their own journey, and like you said, it's really about where you are in your career and where you are in your life. And I think when people are vulnerable and share the tough times, example would be, I'm a pretty private person, but my son was sent to CHLA for 2 weeks, transferred from me when he was born. And it was something I wasn't gonna share, but it was important to me to share, this is real life, and these are, you can't plan for everything, and hard times are gonna come, and the love and support you get back from being vulnerable and really sharing the tough times, I think the competition sort of fades away, because you really just feel your community instead.
Absolutely. That's great. I couldn't agree more. So I want to talk to you guys about something that Koya kind of said, this concept of rest. I think there's this, I talk to to people at work all the time, and they still wear like this badge of honor that they haven't slept because they worked all night. I'm like, sister, you gotta get some sleep. Like, you got to go to bed. How does rest play into what you do when you're working so hard? You're working all the time to try to give people what they need, but sleep is important. Yes. Someone wants sleep.
I have to sleep. I'm like an 8-hour-a-night person. If I don't sleep, I'm miserable. So that's been really important. And I think also just realizing that you don't have to take every meeting and you don't have to take all the calls right away. And just finding time to balance that out has been really important for me. And I think just being honest with the people around me too, and just saying, hey, like I would love to show up for you for this, but I'm exhausted and I really need a rest, and just having them be receptive to that has been great.
So that sounds like you have proper boundaries.
100%.
Yeah.
It took a while, but I
Yeah.
have it.
Raise your hand in the audience if you have boundaries in your life. That's great. That is good. That is good. So let's talk about boundaries. The idea of saying no. When in your career, in your wellness track, have you had to say no, and it's really helped you to, maintain your sanity, your health? An example?
Yeah, actually, I started working at BuzzFeed on Tasty, and so that was a really cool experience. I love Tasty, I love a lot of the producers on Tasty, but eventually my own interests started to pivot off of a lot of the content that I was making, and I got more interested in veganism, and I got more interested in wellness, and I made the tough decision to be like, I'm not gonna make this hamburger ball. Instead, I want to make a salad, or I want to try to make veganism cool. And I was fortunate enough that they were like, all right, you want to do that? Go for it, try it, see if it works. And that's kind of what led me to start Tasty Vegetarian. And I got a really good response from that, and that gave me hope. I was like, there are other people trying to do this. And I think, again, that's what we're saying, is like when you're vulnerable and when you're honest with people, that's when you connect. I mean, for better or for worse, but yeah, it paid off for me. It was really scary, but I'm glad I did it.
Jen, have you had to say no at any time during your work in Vital Protein?
I think it's important to set a role model for the people that you work with. I don't always live up to that, but I try, after a certain time, not to respond to texts or emails or Slacks, and sort of show that example that something that can wait until the morning. If someone else wants to send me something, if they're on a different schedule, that's fine, but I'll try not to respond after a certain time, but to sort of set that example. One other thing I heard once, but I don't know if it's true, maybe you experts can tell me, that you don't necessarily have to get 8 hours every day, but you have to get a certain amount of sleep every week. So another thing that I tend to do is like catch up sleep. So I'll nap if I get an opportunity to nap. It's an amazing skill if you haven't figured out how to nap. I learned how to after my first baby was born, and people said sleep when the baby sleeps, and I was like, I can't nap, but you actually figure it out pretty quick when you're not sleep deprived. So I do think that finding those little times, or if you're on vacation, like sleeping half a day, like I do that very guilt-free, and I figure I'm clocking hours that I should have had at another time.
So guys, doesn't self-care on a regular basis begin with the idea that you even deserve it? I think a lot of women don't even think that they deserve it subconsciously. So somebody tell me how you sort of fostered the self-love to even, begin to see, like, I deserve to take care of myself. This is my self-worth. This all ties in. I don't have to always be on. How does that work?
I think self-love always starts with, for me, it started with actually sitting down and understanding who I was. Because until you realize what you have that's good and what you have that's bad, what you loving. It's like when you try and love somebody else, you get to know them, you understand them, you get to know their goods, their bads, what they're about. And so until you're able to understand that about yourself, you don't know what you're loving. And so I think that's probably for me where I started, was really sitting with myself and understanding. Like sitting in silence with yourself is a hard thing. Like I would take anything before I would take going out, going to the shop, whatever it was, to not sit with myself. But as soon as you start doing that, you start understanding who you are. I think that breeds that love for yourself because you've spent the time with yourself and invested in it.
Yeah, I'm curious with you, Koya, did you have something?
I think us as women, most of us women, we're nurturers and we want to take care of people. We want to take care of our family, our friends. We want to nurture. And we forget that the most important person to nurture is ourselves. And the more that we can pour into ourselves, the more that we have to give out. And I feel like if we just remember that, if I nurture myself first and most, I'll always have more energy to take care of everyone else and not feel like nurturing ourselves is being selfish or self-serving, but realize it's necessary. It's necessary for our mental, spiritual, and physical health to nurture ourselves. And that's really where Get Loved Up is born. Love yourself, love others, then love the world in that order. Because if you do it the reverse order, you'll end up burning out before you get the opportunity to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask you as well for Naya, because you're pouring into other people. How do you pour into yourself at the same time?
I think therapy is huge for me. I kind of grew up, I'm African, and in our household, feelings weren't really a thing. And I didn't realize that was a problem for me until I was probably, 27 or 28. And then I was like, wow, I'm really stifled. Like, there are some things that I need to talk about, and I should probably go to a professional to do it. So that was really big for me and helpful. And I know it's also a luxury and a privilege that a lot of people can't have access to therapy. So that's also something that I'm very aware of. I'm grateful for that it was something I was able to do.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know, but a lot of Black people don't talk about their feelings. We're working on it though, we're getting there, we really are. And these women and so many other women are helping open that space up. It's amazing, it's like changed my life as well. So I wanna go down the line. We're getting close to time here, but I want everyone to give like your number one tip. Your number one tip, the one that you just can't live without when it comes to just taking care of your wellness and really setting the boundaries to make sure you keep it in place on a regular basis.
I would say start with a blood sugar balancing meal. Whether your breakfast is at 6 a.m. or 10 a.m., that is going to set the tone biologically for you to eat clean and take care of yourself throughout the rest of the day.
Right.
I would have to say you have to strike a balance somehow between mind, body, and soul, because you need your body to be able to do what your mind wants to do, to live your passion and your dreams. You need a soulful pit, like a soulful root, like something that takes you deep so that you can have deep connections with people, and that's what will nourish your mental and your emotional state too. So I think mind, body, and soul balance is really important.
I would say get outside, try to get outside at least once a day.
Can you hear her? Say it a little louder. She said get outside, y'all.
Get outside and look at things that aren't on a screen. And it's amazingly restful for your eyes.
Yeah, whatever you choose, make sure it excites you, make sure it gets you out of bed in the morning, because if it has to last and be sustainable, you have to be excited about it.
I would say take time to breathe. I believe breath is spirit, and we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And if you can just, all of us together, just take a big inhale and exhale. If you can just remember to breathe throughout it all, that can start you out in a good space.
That felt good.
I feel better already. For me, it would just be, start with the first thing. I mean, you've got a list, just start with the first thing, and if you do one good thing for yourself in a day, it's a snowball effect. So you don't have to do yoga and hiking and meditation. Just start with one, maybe just do one stretch, and be happy. Be happy with that.
To double back on what Koya said, I think breathing is imperative. And if you can cultivate some type of meditation practice, even if it's just sitting for 5 minutes and just breathing, the ability to notice what's triggering me and when I'm getting very angry, and being like, okay, maybe don't freak out. Just take a breath and then respond has been very good for me. So meditate.
So one thing that I'm taking away from what you guys are saying is there is this element of solitude that you're going to have at some point so you can even hear the messages about what's going on with your body. You can't figure it out if you can't hear yourself, right? Okay, so amazing. I want to stop asking questions. I want you guys to ask the questions. We have 7 minutes left. That's enough time for a few. If something's on your chest or on your heart for these women, now is the time.
So who do we have in the audience? Right here.
So my question is this. I'm a mother of 2 under 4. I'm a founder in the welfare space. With the idea of compare and despair basically on the border of epidemic for our younger generation, to Gen Z specifically, how would you all suggest that you hold space for yourself while uplifting other women, specifically on the platforms of social media?
Who's gonna take that?
I think it goes back to just what your intention is, right? So if you're running yourself ragged, being like, how can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help you? Then you're not pouring into your own cup. But if you're, or at least for me, like I always am heart first, and I always want to help. I'm always like, what can I do for you? So I think just trying to strike that balance of like being helpful, giving a good comment, showing up to support people at their events, but then also taking time for yourself as well.
And I would also say, ask for help. We are not meant to be in this world alone and meant to do it alone. So the biggest thing that I learned is I'm trying to be fierce. I'm trying to make it happen in California. I'm a small town girl from Tennessee, but I had to realize when I need to ask for help. So there's a website called internships.com, especially if you're already a professional and you have 2 kids, like asking for help and building a team around you that are just as passionate about what you're passionate about, that can help you get that message and that intention out there so you don't feel like you have to do it all yourself, because all of us here, we're on a similar platform, and even us having this panel together, realizing we don't have to be here by ourselves and just know when to ask for help.
Yeah, good people around you is imperative. No toxic energy moving forward in the rest of this year or 2020, right? Who's next? Who's next? Right back here. All the way in the back, if you can stand up so they can see.
Okay. I just have a question about your social media. So what are some practices and like strategies that you use to balance social media in your life? So like do you do like once a day, you kind of like sit down, write a post and like respond to comments, or do you do it throughout your day? Or like how do you have like a structure with that, or do you respond whenever, post whenever? Yes, go.
I always try to set an hour, like I'll go meditate, I'll work out, and then I've structured an hour into my day where I can reply to comments, where I can do my editing and create, because I find like if you do it throughout the day, the screen time thing on iPhone has been a game changer. Like telling me that I spent 4 hours on my social media, are you serious? Like how have I done that? And so I think scrolling through ends up being something that's so mindless. And instead, if you can just block out an hour or whatever time you need in a day, in a solid slot, rather than just scattering throughout the day, can be so helpful. Because then when you're doing other stuff, your mind's not scattered. It's like always doing things in blocks, I find for me is so much easier focus, rather than feeling like I'm not present in every situation I'm in because I'm scrolling through all the time.
I set a rule that really helped me, especially after my son was born, that I will not scroll Instagram unless I'm posting. So that right there is like a great way to put content out and not just constantly be comparing and being like, oh my gosh, all these people are posting, I'm not posting, what do I have to share? If I feel inspired to share, that's my ticket to scroll. So, and I will scroll for 20 minutes and I'll answer comments for 20, 30 minutes, then it's done. So depending on my life and what's going on and where I feel my priorities need to be, it really, really has been a game changer for me, especially with the screen time tracker. It's made me feel a lot better, because when you go and scroll, you're automatically comparing yourself. But if you're putting something out there and responding and helping others, you automatically are going to feel good about yourself.
All right, so we have time for one quick question. Just right here.
What are some of your self-care guilty pleasures?
Self-care guilty pleasures. Super fast, my ladies.
Infrared sauna.
Ice cream.
Ice cream, infrared sauna. What else we got?
Wine.
Wine. Yes.
The Bachelorette.
The Bachelorette. Koya.
Oh, guys, pizza, donuts, chocolate, everything vegan, but all of that. All the things. I'm a vegan food.
Roddy, did you say?
Yeah, I was gonna say pizza, anything carby, sugary, yeah, all of the above. All of the above.
Let's go eat out.
That's amazing. The Bachelorette that just started, right?
Yes.
The new season? Yes. So, guys, I want to thank you all so much. Again, there's an amazing day that's planned for you. Let's just give these ladies a round of applause. And in the very last minute that we have, I just want you to go down and say your Instagram handle, because if you happen to be on, you're not supposed to be always on. That was the point of this panel. But if you are on and you don't follow them, here are their handles right here.
Be Well by Kelly.
Rodney Devika.
At Vital Proteins.
At Rayme, R-R-A-Y-Y-M-E.
Koya Webb.
Merle Shea or Goodful.
At NAAYA.UF.
Okay, another hand clap for them and you.